From the top rope, this is the Squared Circus.
Square! Ah! That's the occult phenomenon. You know what I think?
Recording in progress.
I realize I like paint.
That was a botch. Hold on.
So, anyway, that's how it's gonna go.
Blood and guts.
It's fit and shirt that you're wearing a Dean Ambrose shirt too.
Oh, no. It's my sleep shirt. A friend gave it to me. It's like the Misfits ripoff thing.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It says unstable.
What did you think of the actual blood and guts part?
I wasn't excited about it. I mean,
I think they're over. I'm getting overdone with the whole lot of blood anyway. You know that, but like the blood and guts thing, I just feel like it was having both people leave them and this and that. I don't know. It just seems kind of like to me.
I mean, there were a number of issues I had if I really break it down. It's an overall match. I mean, you know, like we were saying the other day, like, oh, there's things I don't like, but when the match is so good, it doesn't matter if those things are in the match because how good the match is overwhelms that and you enjoy it. I didn't find this match that great. I mean, I didn't say it wasn't that great. I mean, everybody, you know, I don't know. It didn't grab me. It didn't bring me in. A lot of people really loved it. So I'm not going to say it wasn't great because obviously the consensus is out that this was a good match.
See, I read differently too, though. I read a bunch of articles that people like it was okay, but it's kind of like overdone. Like it was almost to the point where like even though it's called blood and guts, it got to the point that like, do we really need this much? You know, like
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the blood and guts aspect of it, I don't mind that stuff as much. I mean, yes, it is overdone, and Moxley bleeds every fucking week, and after a while, it loses its effect.
It already did. But
despite that, once again, like if it was a good match, it wouldn't matter. And to me, it didn't drag me in. There was no drama in it to me that was like keeping me like, you know, compared to what we just saw over the weekend, the FTR versus Bullet Club Gold, where you're just like glued to it. And all of a sudden it's an hour match and you're like, whoa, an hour went by. This one, I'm sitting there watching. Julia's watching with me and she wanted to go walk the dog and she watched the whole match. But part of me is like, she just go walk the dog. Like nothing that exciting is happening, you know?
Yeah. You know, and it's just, this is the same thing with why, and I know the Elite is really good. I know they're talented, but I can see why people don't like them because it's almost too planned. Everything looks too planned, and that's what this looked like to me. Everything was like just spots, and you're like, okay. The reason why I think FTR and that match was so good is that it seemed like almost like a real match that you could get drawn into, where it didn't seem too flashy, but it was still good. It was still, you know, like
I mean, but the Bucks matches are always like that, and I usually enjoy them a lot more. It just didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's why I'm starting to like be like, okay, it's to me I feel like every match is the same now. And even though this is blood and guts and they put more gory into it, but like all their shit, you have to have like perfect timing. Yes, so they're talented at the perfect time, but it also takes seconds to set it up. Like you have to have everything set up to do the whole entire match. So it has to be planned out, and it looks like it's too much planned.
I don't think it comes across as like obvious usually because it's so quick. You don't see the setup. I think for this, because there's so many people, so many moving parts, you have to make sure that the person's in the right spot before you do something and you like accidentally run into somebody or stuff like that. I think because this kind of match is so chaotic and there's so much going on at the same time that you have to kind of slow down these moves that I think require the speed to get them across, you know?
And you know, the whole thing with Pac leaving, it was to me, it was kind of weird because, he got hit by Claudio. And you know how many times that gets messed up all the time? Like when people like in matches, and then all of a sudden that's what they're like, okay, bye. And then he just walks away and you're like, wait, what? Like,
let's
what?
get into
Like,
let's get into the nuts and bolts of it now, because like I said, overall, a lot of times there's a match you can't explain what it is, why the drama's there, why it draws you in. You watch like a slow ass Okada match for an hour and you're at the edge of your seat. But a match like this, there's a million things going on and it doesn't drag you in. We established that. What are the little things now? Yeah, the pack thing, I didn't really buy it that much. I appreciate it now afterwards because clearly they're using it to set up a match between Pac and Claudio for the Ring of Honor title. And so you got to give people a little bit of leeway because originally it was supposed to be Claudio versus Eddie. Eddie wanted to do the G1, so they changed the booking to be Claudio versus Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe got injured, so then all of a sudden they have to do something else. So kudos to them for at least setting it up.
yeah, I guess it just seemed kind of like, and I get that, and that does put into a new light, but it just seemed like everything just seemed kind of weird. Like they could have done a little bit more, I guess.
Yes,
more than
absolutely.
just a one move. You know what I'm saying?
I
like,
can have
do
it
a
twice, but yeah, do it 3 or 4 times. Sell it a little more.
Anything, like have them like even fight or something. Not just like look at you. I don't know. It just seemed to me it seemed a little forced.
Yeah, no, you could have done something where like one guy's doing a move and the other guy actually like backs into him and he messes him up and like, hey, watch where you're going. You know what I mean? They could have done something that seemed a little more believable, that one person would be so angry at the other person that he'd walk out.
Yeah. And then the other guy threw in the towel and got him out too.
Yeah, Kanosuke. And
yeah,
which first of all, I don't love that whole thing in general. The like, oh, the guy just walking out thing, unless there's a larger purpose to it. But especially in the case like this, where it's like, obviously, I mean, part of why it doesn't work is like the heels are the ones who are going to walk out like, fuck you, I'm done. Like a babyface isn't going to abandon their partner. But then it's like the baby faces now have a one-man advantage. That's not, I mean, Wrestling 101 is the babyface is the one coming from behind, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So
it was 5 against 3.
Yeah. So like that kind of didn't work. So yeah, I agree with you on that for the most part. Like I said, like I appreciate what they do in the long run with it, but like for the match, it didn't work. There's other ways they could have done it. And I don't know why they pulled Takeshita out. I don't know. I mean, maybe this is setting something else up too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
and who knows? Maybe he actually got hurt, and that's the way they did it. I don't know. Maybe that will come out later on because I don't see who he's gonna go against. Like I don't know what the agenda was for that one. Yeah, but it did seem kind of weird to have the heels it was 5 against 3, and all of a sudden, and I get it how they did where Mox is the one who threw in the towel and gave up because he was trying to save Yuta. So and
then Moxley's handcuffed, so it's really like 5 against 2.
yeah.
It just makes it like that much less exciting. How do you get excited about the ending of a match? It's like if you're watching a hockey game and all of a sudden everybody's in the penalty box and it's 5 on 2. Like,
yeah. All the good players, even not all the good players. Like maybe at that time, maybe someone should have run in, even if they lost. Someone should have run. Like that's the time when I feel like a run in should have been all right. Like anything. Well, I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird. But I mean, it's the way they went. Well, who else did in Dynamite? I'm trying to think of the rest of the thing now.
Well, hold on. There was more about this match. I mean, to me, that's just like the biggest. I mean, the biggest thing to me was Kota Ibushi. Now, this is partially from my perspective as a fan of Kota Ibushi and somebody who was looking forward to him showing up in AEW for a long time. And I think a lot of the fans too. I mean, you saw the pop that he got when Kenny announced him on the video screen, and then when he showed up for this, like fans were excited about this, and I just felt like it fell flat. This was not the way to debut Kota Ibushi. I heard he was hurt.
Oh, okay.
So I could explain why he was like moving a little slow. He's probably kind of rusty. I think he did some indie stuff, but like he hasn't been like wrestling full time in a long time. So he's probably rusty. So I get like ideally he'd show up he'd do like a one-on-one match, something where you can really see him shine. Or at least a tag match if he is rusty and he needs somebody else, you know, to kind of take some of the weight. But there's so many reasons.
The elite and the elite though is going to overshadow everyone though. That's just who they are. That's love them or hate them. They're going to overshadow everyone. Omega is just amazing. Like, you know, because I'm not really a fan of the Bucks anymore, but I still love Omega.
Yeah.
All of them are going to just overshadow anyone who they're with.
Well, then you don't put him in, then you don't debut him with them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they should have done something else with him because, you know, and of course, like I heard mixed reviews too. Like, okay, of course, Elite's gonna win because honestly, I was gonna say big black cocks. They have big combat, whatever the fuck they're called. Blackpool. Sorry, Blackpool Combat Club. Yeah. They really don't win. They if you notice, most of their matches now, especially when they're in teams, they don't. I
have to think about that now.
Really think about it. It's hard. Like single matches, yes, but when they're together, they never win.
That's funny. Well,
because the Elite won the last time.
That's what Yuta's there for.
Yeah. Because didn't they lose the last time? When remember that time when like they had Mox's music on and it just kept on playing and playing and playing?
Oh God, yeah. I don't remember. I think you're right.
That was kind of funny though.
But dude, I mean, you couldn't have Ibushi show up for his debut and lose.
Yeah, but someone else could have taken the pin.
Yeah, you just can't have his team lose. I mean, again though, like that's another reason like why this was a bad time to debut the guy. I mean, listen, there's 10 reasons why it was a bad idea. First of all, he's milking the entrance, which I think you have to do. But you can't milk the entrance and run in for the save at the same time. It's one or the other. So I get wanting to milk the entrance, but like there's Dean Ambrose, John Moxley stepping on Omega's hand, pressing it into a bed of nails, and Coda's like, la 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 la, milking the entrance. Like, no.
Yeah.
What is that?
You know what equivalent to is? Remember what? I don't know if you've seen this when one of the Hardys came out. I think it was Jeff Hardy was announced again in WWE, and he was gone for a long time, and he was supposed to run in for the save. But before he did the save, he actually did his little dance move, and everyone was kind of laughing. Like, did you just stop and just do your dance move to save someone?
This was like that, but worse.
I was like, if you were my friend and I was getting jumped and someone stopped to dance before they saved me, I'm punching you in the neck.
And these are long lost friends, Coda and Kenny. It's this big reunion, and he's like, I'll take my time. People are cheering for me. Your safety can wait.
Yeah.
And then like, because there's so many people involved, you can't even focus on like the to me, the headline is Kota Ibushi's debut. Before the match, that's the headline. At the end of the match, it's like, oh yeah, he was also there. Because there's 10 things going. There's 10 people in the ring. You can't focus on what he's doing. He comes and he does the cleaning house thing. He punches, and that could have done cooler stuff. And he's behind a cage, so like you're not focusing on what you can see. Like they weren't using the inside the cage camera enough. They're like cool moves, and they're shooting it from like between on the other side of the cage, so they have the cage between the camera and the action. And I don't know. It was to me the whole time. I'm just like, and Kota Ibushi coming in last. I get it. He's got to be like the icing on the cake, but it kind of made the excitement of it less because there was nobody left. We knew he was in the match. It's not like Royal Rumble where you're like, who's number 1? Who's number 30? Who's it going to be? We know who it's going to be. If he came out and it was hit second and it was him and Kenny, 2-on-2.
Yeah,
that would have been much more huge. I think.
Now that you said Royal Rumble, I was just going to say that. I said the only thing that I feel like when you have that many people that's done right is the Royal Rumble to me, because they seem to do that right? When you have that, like, I understand it's 30 people in the event, but like, I feel like when you have that many people, you really can't say shit. And to me, it looks funny because now the camera is looking at this one part, and because they're like, okay, this is a move right here that they're trying to focus on, while everyone's just laying on the floor waiting for their spots. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I don't like that. I don't like the fact of like they're just sitting there waiting, and all of a sudden, when it's their time, they bounce up like nothing ever, and like, oh, I have energy now, and let me just do this. Like, it just, to me, it just doesn't work.
I mean, I think that's one thing better about this. Like, everybody's doing stuff the whole time. It makes it harder to follow.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying though. So it's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's a catch-22. So okay, so you have everyone doing shit, but you don't know which one to follow. So now you don't see anything because you keep on going back and forth trying to focus. And then if you're not, then you're seeing 5 people just sitting there laying there doing nothing, like just staring at them. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's
also like going back to the camera work too. Like, there was one point in the match where it's like Nick Jackson up on top of the cage. I forget exactly what happened. Did some moves with I think Wheeler or Yuta up there. But anyway, after that was done, the cameraman's like on Nick Jackson doing nothing while there's 9 other people wrestling, and then he's like climbing down the cage, and the camera's on him, and you hear all this stuff, and you hear the crowd popping for something, and you don't see it because the camera's following Nick Jackson climbing down the cage. Not interesting.
Well, speaking of the cameraman, this is a side note with the cameraman is I am tired of actually seeing them blade. I don't even like blood as it is, but the cameramen seem to always catch them blading. Like,
I never see it.
Oh my God, there's a couple episodes that me and my friend Drew will like sit there. I'm like, oh my God, like they'll actually zoom in and like you actually see them blading. Like, it's like if you waited a couple seconds later, and like this is like the 3rd time that I've seen it. And again, I'm not even a blood guy anyway, but like, my God, can you just get the camera right? Like, why are you like, after all this production and all this shit that you're trying to do, and we see the fucking blade going through your forehead, and you're like, come on.
I think it's a general problem with the cameras getting too up close to the action. I think part of the illusion requires distance. So when you see a knee that doesn't connect, like one that happened in this match, when you see things that look phony up close, they don't necessarily look phony from afar. You know, because you're too close, you see the things that you see where like you almost see like the puppet strings being moved.
And the cage matches has got to be annoying for the people in the top seats.
You can't see. You got the bar of the cage, like
because all you see is just fucking. Because when the further you look from the cage, it just looks like, oh my God, it's just like that wooden match. Remember when Jinder Mahal did that fucking wooden match in WWE? Man, if I was in the crowd, I would be pissed because you couldn't see shit.
What was that called? I forget. It was like a bamboo cage or something.
Yeah, I would have been pissed because it was like 3 layers of bamboo. So like anyone in the seats, even if you're in the front row, couldn't see it. And you're like, man, I just paid good wood of a bamboo just staring in my face. I would have been fucking pissed. But obviously the cage match is not that bad.
One last complaint I had with this match, so I was sort of nitpicking the details, is I don't like blood and guts, whatever. Like, I'm neither here nor there on it. But if you're gonna stab people with forks for 10 minutes straight, there should be blood. None of those guys were bleeding.
None of them.
Stabbing them with forks repeatedly, and there was no blood.
Yeah. There was. Did you notice that the elite looked all fresh and like nothing? Like, oh, la la la.
Yeah. Moxley. I don't even remember when Moxley got stabbed. Moxley stabs everybody else, and he's the one bleeding.
Yeah, well, that's just big. Yeah, that's him on the side. No one's even on him, and all of a sudden he starts bleeding from his head, and you're like, "What the fuck just happened?" I was like, "You were handcuffed. You were handcuffed to the ropes, and you just start bleeding from your forehead like you're Jesus Christ doing stigmata."
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in general, like weapons, like I have a limit with weapons. Like chairs make sense. I don't like forks. I don't like bats. It's just too phony. Yeah. If you stab somebody with a fork, the match is over. A person's going to the hospital.
Just like when they do that bullshit. with the eye, like when they fucking sit there and stab you in the eye. I'm like, come on now. Let's just like let's be honest here.
That's where, I mean, obviously you have to suspend disbelief with wrestling to a degree. And like the line for me is like right where chairs end and like forks begin. Forks, baseball bats, and like,
and they love forks too.
Bed of nails is just stupid.
I still don't like that one time when like I was like, this is way too much. Remember when that match when like they had the thumbtacks and they threw the thumbtacks in the guy's mouth? It was Darby. They put the thumbtacks in Darby's mouth, and it's not. I'm like, really? Like, it's just necessary? Like, you know, like, and I'm with you with bat, because obviously if you hit someone with a bat, they ain't getting up if you hit them the way you're supposed to hit them. Like, you know, like it's like, no, that's not gonna happen. And I get it. It's all scripted. We all know that.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like, they tried to make it somewhat real. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I can see, like, there was times where, like, I don't know, there was that one time where there was a board with like barbed wire wrapped around it. And like in my head, I could be like, okay, you know, this is a John Moxley match and it's a big hardcore match. And he's like amped up and I'm going to make a board. I'm going to staple some barbed wire to it. And it looked like something somebody could have made, especially if you're imagining somebody who's so into death matches and he's all excited and he's going to make his thing and hide under the ring. Yay. But like a bed of nails, nobody no, that's hard to buy.
Yeah.
That he made that. And it was like perfect and dragged that under the ring. And also it fucked up because it bounced off the turnbuckle and like snagged Kenny on after he did the bump on it. Like it hit him in a way that it wasn't supposed to, and like gouged his side, I think. And also like that has to be like less frequent for it to mean something. I can get like, I had my one big death match of the year. I'm going to go all out and make a fucking board with barbed wire on it. But if there's one like every month, it's like, okay, well, you're just always doing this. I don't know. I can't buy the psychology of it.
It's like the forks. There's a lot of forks, and it's also the same thing with like when we was. It's the same thing with John Moxley bleeding. Like it's a lot of people. It's a huge like internet like fucking joke, where like, oh my god, he bleeds, like, because it loses its touch. It does. It's like, okay, now you bleed every fucker, and it's just sad because he is talented that he doesn't have to do this, but for some reason he just wants. I wonder if he does this now just to fucking fuck with people.
I don't know.
He probably sits there like, oh, I see what people are saying. So you know what? I'm gonna bleed in every match now just because you sat there and said. You know, and I get it. I understand it's called blood and guts. So, but it's just the thing is, if he didn't bleed every fucking week, then it wouldn't be so bad at blood and guts. But even like you already knew that no matter what, someone breathes on him, all of a sudden he's fucking bleeding hysterically on his fucking face, and you're like, dude, I just fucking said hi. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like. You know, like why are you bleeding so much with me talking shit to you?
Yeah.
So
what would make all the forks worth it?
They had knives too.
Danhausen shows up with spoons one day.
Yeah,
like a big wooden spoon too, like a ladle or something.
so it's trying to take your eye out. But yeah. What up?
Do you want? I know. Did you have anything else on that?
No, not the blood and guts. I think that pretty much blood and guts.
Let's talk about let's talk about Adam Cole and MJF.
Fucking love it.
I loved it.
Loved every second.
It was so much fun.
I don't care. You know what? I sat there and would be like, I shouldn't like this. But man, it was so fucking good. And
it was so much fun.
The smile on MJF when he fucking flew out the ring. He has a picture on his Twitter or whatever the fuck it is, and then you see a smile while he's diving, and you're like, "This is just gold. This is just gold." Like, because he did so perfectly. He's acting so perfect.
Yeah, and the crowd loves it. I'm going to say one thing about this before we talk about the match itself. A lot of people are like complaining, oh, this is like WWE. It's sports entertainment. If you don't like WWE, why do you like this? I did not get a WWE vibe from it. I got an indie vibe from it. Like, I know it was sports entertainment-y because they did dancing and there was a lot of like goofiness, but that to me is way more like bingo hall, indie, goofball. Chikara, hood slam type of stuff than it is WWE. Just because it was
my
sports
take.
entertainment doesn't mean it's WWE. I don't know.
It's
I
my
didn't
take
get
on that. When people say that, oh, if you don't like it in WWE, I actually like the shit like that in WWE. So I can't really say much.
No,
my preference, like, dude, The Rock did so much fucking stupid, silly shit. Jericho did so much stupid, silly shit. Like, this is nothing new. Dude,
no.
The fucking WWE had the fucking gobbler or goobler, whatever the fuck that big ass bird. Yeah, like,
well, that's just what people are saying is like, if you're an AEW fan, then you're a hypocrite if you like this because it's sports entertainment, and AEW fans say they don't like sports entertainment.
That's internet. That's internet.
That's
people.
True.
You can like both people. Like you can like both companies.
I mean,
I'm
one of those guys who doesn't really watch WWE anymore, but my fond memories of WWE involve goofy ass shit like that. Festival of Friendship and John Moxley or Dean Ambrose coming down to the ring with what do you have, like an ice cream cart or some shit? Like, I don't know. I like
it's. We said that too before, like when people say you have to pick a side and stuff. I'm like, no, it's kind of like that whole Apple and Android or Apple and Samsung with their phones. I'm like, I have an Apple phone. I have a Samsung TV. Shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I have both. I like both companies. So I just feel like it's stupid, the whole war against, like, you have to like only one. Yes, there's some things I like in WWE still. There's some things I like in AEW. But no, I still enjoyed it. Just like I would have enjoyed if they did it in WWE of something stupid like that.
Yeah.
If it's done correct. It's done correct. And this was just gold. Like, not to mention, you're not used to MGF doing this way, and it proves that he could probably do anything now. And I actually think this got MGF over more because now you could say, hey, he could probably do a face and a heel, which obviously one of them is going to turn. But it shows that he could do it all now.
Yep.
It actually proves it, and that's a good look for him.
It's a great look, and the crowd loved it. And it's another example of like, you know what? The match itself, the match was okay. If you just isolated the match out of context, took all the build up and everything, and just the match, but it was so much fun. Mm-hmm. All the context around it really
the double clothesline that them singing.
They built up a double clothesline for what, 3 weeks?
Yes, and they said it 3 times.
That was huge.
And that's not even. Yeah, and that's not even it's a move like a leg drop where it shouldn't do shit. But it was just like but like they did it, and like, oh man, that dive, his face
fucking
was
genius.
Hysterical.
And the dive was great too, just building up these like little individual moves and just making that nothing move a huge thing. Brilliant.
And even when they played the remix version of MGF music, and he goes, "Wait, you guys got it wrong. This is my music." And then like when he heard it, like he looked like a little kid. Like it's like he's doing it. It's such a great role. Of course, they planted the seeds at the end when Cole was holding the title and then all that shit. But I actually think Cole's going to turn. Like a lot of people say that, and I agree with them that I think Cole's going to be the one that turns on MGF first.
Yeah.
But it's obviously going to happen because they don't need the titles. But
no, they're not going to give them the titles, and they'll probably lose by having them do the like not communicating. Like one guy doesn't trust the other guy, so it's like
this is a perfect time because I would have gotten pissed or mad if they did this whole tournament thing of real actual tag teams. And they waited to the end, and when they turned, where they didn't win the championship, like, well, how come you can't give another tag team a shot? They did it in a way where everyone was like just mixed match. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone just got placed together where they weren't really tag teams. So it's not like you're not giving someone a shot. That's a real. Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. Years ago, I can't remember. Was it the Dusty Rhodes Classic or something in NXT? Mm-hmm. I'll never forget. I don't know why I remember it now, but it was like a bunch of tag teams, and I think Joe and one other person, I don't remember who, and they win the whole thing. I'm like, what the fuck was the point of that? And then they're not a team anymore. So they just buried all these actual tag teams to give the tournament to 2 people who they just stuck together. But every team is just stuck together. Then it works, Yeah, it just makes it more fun.
We know that they're not going to beat FTR. I mean, I think it's highly doubtful that FTR is going to lose to them.
No, it's not the time for it. But
unless they
lose and get it back at like All In or something.
real quick, since we're running out of time because we always do, is that it's funny how we were talking about how we don't know if we're going to stick with Collision and this and that. We don't know and this and that, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden we watch Collision. I'm like, this is fucking amazing with this match. And then we go to Dynamite and we're like, wow, I actually like Collision better.
This week, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
although
after we just said it,
that tag match was really great. Both,
no matter what, that tag match beat anything that it was on Dynamite. I don't give a shit how well I liked MGF and Cole. That tag match was fucking damn good.
Well, they've been doing a good job of making Collision feel important too, because I think there's something this week too. I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to watch it because I'll be out of town.
It's another battle of the belts where none of them is gonna matter.
Oh, no.
Another thing is I don't like the fact that Perry beat Hook. I think that was the wrong choice.
Didn't love that either.
I thought that was kind of weird because Hook comes out, he's a crowd favorite, and now you to me that's doing anything you can to get Perry over as a heel. Yeah. So it's like, okay, let's do that. I just thought it was Hook was the wrong person. I'm glad it wasn't like someone like Cassidy, but still, I still feel like Hook was the wrong choice of like, because people loved Hook and it was more, I don't know. I feel like that was forced just to try to get him over as a heel.
They kind of, I don't know, they lost focus with Hook. I don't know why. And I mean, if it were me, I would have brought him back and continued like a winning streak for him. But it didn't seem significant. Like even if he was going to beat him, they'd have to make a bigger deal of it. You know, like this didn't feel like, oh man, this is the end of the streak. Like with Jade Cargill. You know, even though I wasn't that big a fan of hers, they did a good job, like making that streak end in a way that felt like a big deal. You know, this didn't feel that way to me. So, like, even Jungle Boy winning doesn't get as over as he should because they didn't make enough of a big deal of him breaking the streak.
And he's just learning how to be a heel, so that some shit needs to be like practice. And like get into and like just feel your groove into doing it because he never done it before.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like this is just too much. Like why make Hook lose a title for a fast push of trying to get it faster? You didn't have to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you could have had made Hook win and then have him beat the shit out of him later. And like, you know, it's not to get the heat or whatever. I just don't feel like just because you own the title, because I can't. Perry's lost everything once he went away from Lucha. Let's be like Luchasaurus and I was gonna say Luke Perry. Luchasaurus and Perry when they split, I think both of them kind of lost something.
Tremendously.
Yeah, even though I still enjoy Kristen getting the title and like him like wearing it like he
that's fun.
I still enjoy. Yeah, I still enjoy that. But like they need to, if they're both heels now, they need to join forces again. And do something with them if they're both heels.
Yeah,
I just didn't like that. But overall,
I don't love the idea of. I will say this about like Jungle Boy. I don't know. I didn't like it at first. The promo he did wasn't that great, but like I feel like he's pulling it off a little bit more. The little changes to his look help. Wetting his hair as opposed to coming out with like the poofy curls. The long trunks, long black trunks. I thought the music worked. Some people didn't like it, but I thought it worked. Just Beethoven and nothing on the screen, no lights, nothing. Just a really bare bones entrance. Just like the house lights on.
Yeah.
No show lights at all. And nothing on the screen and just him walking out and the sunglasses and just like looking, with a puss on his face. Like, I don't think that was that bad. But yeah, something was still missing. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he'll grow into it, but I don't know. Something was missing from it. That's all. I didn't hate it, but it could have been better.
Overall, I think. I mean, like I said, it was. I think the MGF and Cole was like the best for the night for me. And then it's what.
Last thing, I don't know if I mentioned this before. If I did, I don't care. It's worth repeating. Fucking Don Callis's entrance music.
Oh yeah,
like that Takeshita uses now. It's just that for like 60 seconds. Oh my god. It's like a terrifying horror movie scene. There's like no music. It's just a dissonant chord.
I want him and Jericho to do more shit.
Yeah.
Because
That
I
was-
know they have history too, and I hope that they do more shit and like actually like do something with them. Because Jericho's kind of lost in the mix of everything. Like he even had his uh appreciation society walk away from him.
Yeah.
You know, when they lost and they just kind of walked past him and like so like that's kind of I wish they should be breaking up by now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't just
They're-
the whole problem with that is just like they're up and down, like, oh, he's turning face. No, he's not. And what's the direction of this? So that part is a little weird,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It seems like it's going in the right direction for the most part. Oh, and I love fucking what's his name? Daniel Garcia's stupid dance.
Oh yeah.
He
And
got
then
that weird dance over, man. That's great.
That MGF doing it again.
Yeah. Just
When
making a
he's
whole
out there.
dance contest out of it. Oh, it was great.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
all right.
That's
We are
it.
definitely running out of time. And there's also why is there a little fucking green check mark on it? Oh, it went away. There was like a
Okay.
little green check mark. That was weird.
Well,
But
for those
anyway,
of you listening, green check
there was a
mark.
green
Just so you
mark.
know. Yeah.
I'm
Important
tired.
information.
I am exhausted. I'm gonna go to bed.
All right. I'll see you later.
So next time, and by the way, the remaining of the numbers was 55, 72, and
Oh.
60.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
if you're listening out there, play your lotto. You have to listen to the last episode all the way to the end to get the first number.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye.